The topic I chose for this assignment is measuring behavior. I chose to discuss this because it was part of our assignment for our final case study, and I personally find it to be a little difficult to decide which measurement to use when you are looking at behavior. So why do we measure behavior? Cooper says behavior analysts measure behavior to answer questions about the existence and nature of functional relations between socially significant behavior and environmental variables. Measurement in applied behavior analysis entails 3 steps. 1. Identifying the behavior to be measured. 2. Defining the behavior in observable terms. And 3. Selecting an appropriate observation and data recording method. For the purpose of minimizing the time for this assignment, we will just focus on Part C, specifically the data recording method. What are some of the benefits? Measurement helps practitioners optimize their effectiveness. Measurement enables practitioners to verify the legitimacy of treatments touted as evidence-based. Measurement helps practitioners identify and terminate the treatments based on pseudoscience, fad, fashion, or ideology. Measurement helps practitioners be accountable to clients, consumers, employers, and society. And measurement helps practitioners achieve ethical standards. These are all benefits that anyone in the field should desire to achieve. Therefore, they are important to consider when choosing your data method. Behavior is measured using a variety of techniques. These include frequency, latency, duration, inner response time, rate, and time sampling. The first one we'll talk about is frequency. This is a measure of how often a behavior occurs or the number of times a behavior happens. An example of this is using frequency to measure the number of times that Kyle gets out of his seat during first period. Frequency is a good choice for behaviors that have a clear beginning and end. It can be a good way to establish a baseline understanding of behavior. The second one is duration. This is the length of time a behavior occurs from start to finish. The example that I'm using is measuring how long it takes Martha to run 1 mile using duration. This type of data collection is appropriate for behaviors that have a distinct beginning and ending, or for those that occur at very high rates, such as tantrums, or being out of seat, or not completing a task. The next one is rate. This is a measure of how often a behavior occurs within a specific time interval. An example of this is using rate to measure how many times Rachel engages in tantrum behavior per hour while at daycare. The next one is latency. This is the time between a stimulus and the response to the stimulus. An example of this is the time between being told to get his shoes on and starting to put his shoes on. So this type of data collection is appropriate for behaviors that follow a command or a directive or a distinct stimulus. This one is inner response time. This is the duration between 2 consecutive responses or behaviors emitted by an individual. An example of this is using it to measure the time between Martin's screaming behavior when he is prompted to engage in chores. IRT tracks how long it takes for a child to resume the same behavior after stopping it. For instance, it measures the time from an end of an instance of screaming behavior to the start of another instance of screaming behavior. This last one is time sampling. This is a method of data collection that involves observing whether a behavior occurs or not during specific time intervals. An example of this is if the teacher wants to record a student's talking behavior, the observer could set a timer to beep every 10 minutes and then record the occurrence of talking behavior only if the student is talking when the timer beeped. Time sampling is often used when continuous observation isn't practical or resource intensive, such as when assessing a student's on-task behavior. Time sampling can be useful when traditional data collection methods, like frequency and duration, don't provide enough information. Some things to consider when choosing a measurement system: the overall goal for behavior change, the desired direction for the behavior, how easy it is to detect the behavior, when and where the behavior will be measured, and the availability and skill set of the data collector. And these are my references.